Hey guys, how we doing? So, before we start the video, I quickly want to say that I made an oopsie. I'm sorry, last video's made an oopsie, this one I made an oopsie. I actually said breakage instead of breakaway. Breakage is actually the heavy attacks that I talk about when breakaway was the term I was trying to use. Breakaway is when you break the arm off and it's gone. You don't use it, the one with like 75 damage. That was my bad. I accidentally used the wrong terminology, someone pointed that out to me. I'm like, oh, I gotta fix that ASAP. My future videos still say breakage just because they're all pre-recorded, so I'm sorry about that. I'll fix the text so you guys know that's actually breakaway. Other than that, let's go ahead, turn to the video. My god, another day, another video. Yes, and Halfpint's here to talk about the next arm in the series. Today, we'll be talking about the Punchline at Nero's disposal. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. But first things first, what we need to understand is some basic numbers so that we can understand how much damage we're actually outputting. Once again, we'll be using the breakage move like the last videos. Easily put, I did all of these number stats in the Son of Sparta mode within the Void. Why? Because it was an accident and didn't realize, but that's if I did in Devil Hunter mode, but you know what, whatever. Devil Hunter mode does 100 damage for the breakage move, so basically 100% damage. Human mode does 150, Son of Sparta 75, and DMD does 50 damage. Yes, that means you're doing half the damage. And Dante must die mode. That's a no bueno, chief. Definitely a no bueno, but the more you know. Fun fact for you, Hell in Hell mode, you only do 75 damage, so it's basically Son of Sparta damage. Cool. Now, that being said, we record all these stats in Son of Sparta mode, so take these number stats as you will. With that being said, breakage takes about a second long animation, and during this animation you are invulnerable and you push the enemy away. I don't only measure the usability of an arm by its damage, but how vulnerable the player is, where the enemy will end up at the end of the animation, how long the animation is, etc, etc. We want to see just how viable each arm is, and breakage is a good default move to understand just how much we should be comparing each of these arms' damage. So, with that being said, let's get straight into the Punchline. Punchline's basic move, when you execute it, sends the arm flying towards the closest enemy in front of you. The arm will hit the enemy 16 individual times, 9 damage for each hit, for a total of 144 damage. That's not bad. At the end of this, it'll return to the player. Now, the cool thing is, if you hold down that button while the arm is out, you'll begin to ride the arm. Only problem is, if you immediately hold the trigger right after sending it off, there seems to be the second of recovery period, so if you start holding down that trigger during that recovery period, you don't actually ride the arm. It's a little tricky, so be sure to wait a second or two before holding down the trigger to really ensure that you start riding the arm. It screwed me over many times before. Don't let it happen to you too. Now, we did notice that some of the damage values do alter a little bit, but they're all very close to 16 damage. They don't alter too far away from 16 damage overall. So there's numerous ways you can keep the Punchline going. A lot of damage, a lot of potential, a lot of fun. When riding the arm, the melee button will do a boost forward attack, doing, of course, the same amount of damage. The breaker button will spin the arm around. And you can also use what is your shoot button to spin the arm around, but you'll also turn the direction of the camera. It's a really easy way to do a 180 maneuver, which is very important for a lot of users. Little fun fact for you, if you're in Devil Trigger mode, when you use this ability, you'll actually start to send some of those flying swords away as if you're shooting your gun. You know, so you can maximize your damage a little bit there. It's also important to note that Devil Trigger does not add any additional damage to the arm. Be fully aware of that. There's only one arm in this entire game that Devil Trigger adds damage to, and trust me, we'll get to that arm sooner or later. When riding the arm, you only have a limited time before the arm itself detonates. There are numerous ways you can raise this timer. For one, hitting more enemies and raising that style rank will definitely help you keep the arm a little bit longer. It extends the timer. I didn't actually measure the time. It tends to vary in combat. Another way you can do it is you can hit your jump button and you will hop off the arm and it will go to the nearest target, hitting them once again 16 times, 9 damage each for a total of 144 damage. You can also recover the arm and jump back on it, and you can just flip-flop between this over and over. Now, the juicy stuff. Although that's fun to be riding your arm all the time, what is the main heavy attack and how useful is it? The heavy attack launches the arm depending on where the player is. If you're on the ground, it'll do an uppercut. If you're in the air, it'll do a downwards attack. This is very, very nice when it comes to bosses doing a lot of damage, and can pair with other arms as well, such as Ragtime, freezing enemies in place, or using Helter Skelter to stun enemies. Hell, I've seen some people use the Buster arm and do the Buster arm heavy animation, and then follow it up with Punchline to do a little bit additional damage. I do actually highly recommend using Punchline against the Urizen fight if you're doing the prologue. Definitely helps quite a bit. Now those numbers. How about those numbers? What do we got? Initial impact does 683 damage. The launch damage is 292 damage with a final explosion of 150 damage. Basically, you want that initial impact and you want to be getting all of these attacks on one person. Otherwise, you're missing out on some good damage. However, this animation is quite lengthy, and if you get hit at all during this animation, you'll lose the arm and you won't be doing any damage at all. Once again, very good to pair this arm with other arms as well. With that being said, let's go ahead and see how this arm functions when in the hands of a pro player. Pun intended. Once again, I want to thank Devil Never Cry for the extremely good footage of showing off the arm. I'll leave a link to his channel in the description box below. Be sure to check it out when you get the chance. Give his video some love. Speaking of giving videos some love, be sure to hit that like button to give this video some love if you do appreciate it, as it helps share the video around. Don't be afraid to manually share the video as well to get this video out so more people can hear about how to utilize each arm and how much damage they are really doing. With that being said, I gotta hop on out of here. My dog's getting a little feisty and I gotta take him for a walk. The sun is out. Gotta take the opportunity. So with that being said, I want to thank you all for watching long time, but not hard time. And I'll see you guys next time.